Thank you for your comment. And yes, I'm sure it was for nostalgia. And if I'm being honest, like, I have zero faith that they will explain this. I don't think it requires an explanation. I think that they just thought it would be fun. This is going to probably be a long video. So settle in. Maybe hit the favorite button so you can come back if you want to watch it in parts. But I'm about to get some things off my chest. Let me start with this. Star Trek is my one true love. And the moments that don't make any sense to me, I think of Star Trek. And it feels that the writers and Terry have been so cavalier. They wanted, and it feels like they made a show that they thought would be fun, but I don't feel like it holds on to the bones of Star Trek. And I'm going to explain why. Specifically in this case of Moriarty, it's the depth of the narrative and the decision making that went into the Moriarty character in the first place, and how that ties into Data's sentience and personhood. It's so layered, they've completely missed the point. Data's being and personhood, and telling the computer initially to create an adversary that could defeat Data and not Sherlock Holmes is what forced Moriarty's program to gain sentience. It was the sentience and personhood of another artificial being that forced this other artificial being to now become a person. And when we see him the second time, he's just gone through this harrowing effort to say, I want to be free. You said you would give me freedom, you would come back for me, and you didn't. And they conceal him in this prison that he is unaware of. It was because of the way he gained sentience that we later on get this moment. The ability for the Voyager crew to speak on behalf of their friend, to grant him the full personhood and autonomy that he deserves. And still in this episode, we lose the good fight. It's heartbreaking. I don't love the ending of this episode, but it makes sense that even when we're fighting for our rights, sometimes we win, but at least we made some headway. Because where they didn't consider the doctor a person, they at least gave him the autonomy over his work. So what hurts me the most is the absolute lack of care that has been taken. Because the next time that we see Moriarty, it's not him being released from the cube to actual reality, which from the doctor's mobile emitter, even though we don't have access to full 29th century technology, they, in the decades since they returned from the Delta Quadrant, they should have been able to create a device that at least gave Moriarty real autonomous in the real world mobility, right? But instead, they use this thing that they've created, Data and Lore and the other things, like I've said, they've made him a computer device. And this Data computer device has installed this Moriarty program as a defense mechanism. So we don't get to see the real Moriarty get his freedom. We have this, it's not autonomous whatsoever, variation, this non-sentient version, this memory protocol, whatever, of Moriarty. It's like, oh, we got him to come back and play this character, like that's so fun for nostalgia, but it's the underlying nature of the narrative that created him that is missing. It has been disregarded for nothing other than entertainment. I would have been just as happy as everyone else to see Moriarty return if it was the real Moriarty And they actually made good on the promise that they made to him, which is to give him freedom. And instead, they did the opposite.